Thank you, Convener. Good morning, everyone. My name is Alex Cole-Hamilton. I am the local MSP for Edinburgh West, and I'm very grateful for the opportunity to speak to you today. Before I get into the meat of the application itself, I want to address two factors which I believe undermine public confidence in this process. Firstly, I was deeply concerned to learn of the investigation in the Ferret yesterday of the extraordinary access offered by the city leadership to developers at the MIPIN housing conference in France. I hope very much that the Register of Interest will clarify exactly the context.
Excuse me, Mr. Cole-Hamilton, could you stick to what you're here to speak about and not make political points? Otherwise, I may have to bring the proceedings to a temporary halt.
I will leave that point, but I believe it's material to public confidence in this process. Secondly, was in the issue around the development of LDP2, at which point there was a suggestion in a Capital Coalition motion during the consideration of LDP2 that should the Garden District at Gyle be approved, that there could be an opportunity to remove Cammo from consideration. I accept that whilst the ministers called that proposal in following the approval by the Council of the Garden District at Gyle, that Cammo did not leave the LDP. And as such, I've had many representations from people I represent of great concern as regards that breach of faith, as they regard, in seeing this proposal come forward. I'll move on to the substantive points around...
If you would, please. Yes, thank you.
...around the application itself. Firstly, Convener, the Chief Planning Officer referenced the other proliferation of housing developments in the locale. That is absolutely accurate. What she didn't reference, though, were the additional developments that have been green-lighted in South Queensferry, particularly around South Scotstoun and Bullion Road, which will see yet more traffic deluging Barnton at peak times of real concern. Cammo is a site of much-loved natural heritage. We've heard something from the local community councils and the residents' associations of that. It is an asset to our city. People come and use that route to see the sites that it provides. But more to the point than that, there is a massive issue around the lack of public transport services. Kevin Lang rightly referred to that. The withdrawal of the 64 bus service previously operated by EM Horsburgh is sorely missed, not just by people in Barnton, but in the East Craigs estate as well at Buchland. And we are putting in bus stops on a route where no service is currently run. We have had suggestions that maybe Section 75 money provided by the developer to sustain a new service, but the main reason the 64 bus service was withdrawn in the first place was that it was not viable due to journey times caused by the gridlock at Barnton. Until we address that, no public transport routes along that service will be economically viable, and any ones that are introduced will have to be withdrawn at great cost to the local community. I want to conclude with a point that hasn't been made today, but I think is one of the most important. It is a question I have been asking since this proposal was first put on the table. Who is going to treat these patients? We have 1,000, potentially more, new patients coming into this development. Right now, practices like East Craigs and Parkgrove are literally on their knees. Recently, East Craigs had to close its lists because it had no capacity to see them. At the same time, this is a community which has had a proliferation of care homes green-lighted by this committee and other committees in this council, which see a higher demand in terms of pressure on GP services, yet no provision has been made for that. You need 8,000 new patients to sustain a new GP practice. This falls between two stools. Firstly, there's insufficient supply of demand to create a market for a new GP practice in this area. It's going to come on stream at the same time as the West Craigs development, which has the same problem, that there are insufficient healthcare services. And as the local MSP, it is my job to ensure that whilst this may not be a material consideration for rejection, it is a material consideration in the minds of the people I represent in the Scottish Parliament. This has not been thought through, and I urge the committee to reject it.